The gray Oregon sky hung low over the small churchyard as Myra Jenkins clutched a single white rose in trembling hands. The wind tugged gently at her veil, carrying whispers of sorrow through the gathered crowd. Ethan Jenkins, her husband of 55 years, was gone. The man who had built an empire from a modest clothing store and a sewing machine had drawn his final breath, leaving behind not only a grieving family, but a secret that would tear them apart. Carl Ferguson, Ethan's newest business partner, stood at the front offering rehearsed condolences. "My deepest sympathies, Myra," he said smoothly, placing a hand over his chest. His tone was polite, too polite, and his eyes gleamed with something she couldn't quite place. Beside Myra stood her children, Marcus, the eldest and most composed, Alexandra, practical and strong, and Johnny, fiery and impulsive. They surrounded their mother protectively as the service ended. None of them noticed the faint smirk curling at the corner of Carl Ferguson's lips. Weeks later, the family gathered again, this time not in mourning black, but in tense anticipation. The mahogany office of Mr. Rothstein, Ethan's longtime attorney, smelled faintly of leather and dust. A will reading was supposed to bring closure. Instead, it brought chaos. Mr. Rothstein adjusted his glasses and began reading. According to Mr. Ethan Jenkins's final testament, his estate, including the family mansion and controlling shares of Jenkins Apparel, shall transfer to Mr. Carl Ferguson. The room froze. Johnny shot up from his chair, fists clenched. "That's impossible! That man isn't family!" "Sit down," Alexandra hissed, pulling him back before he caused a scene. But Marcus didn't move. He kept his gaze fixed on Ferguson, who sat perfectly still like a man expecting applause after a flawless performance. When the lawyer added that Myra would inherit only Ethan's old fishing trailer by the sea, her breath caught. The home they built, the life they shared, gone, replaced by rust and salt air. "I'm sorry," said Mr. Rothstein, "but this is the will Mr. Jenkins signed before witnesses." Myra felt the world tilt. She could hear her late husband's laughter in the back of her mind, the way he used to call her his compass. But now, she was lost. Marcus broke the silence first. "We'll respect father's wishes," he said quietly, though his jaw tightened. "But I'd like to ask, why would he do this?" Ferguson shrugged. "Your father trusted me to continue what he started. I didn't ask for any of this." Johnny's voice cracked. "You stole it from him!" "Enough," Marcus snapped, placing a steady hand on his brother's shoulder. "We'll take what's ours and leave." Outside, Myra's tears fell freely. "Your father must have had his reasons," she whispered. But even she didn't believe it. That night, Marcus gathered his siblings. "Something's wrong," he said. "Dad would never give everything to a man he barely knew. Tomorrow, we start digging." The next morning, Myra made an unexpected announcement, one that stunned them all. "I'm moving into the trailer," she said firmly. "Mom, no," Alexandra pleaded. "You'll stay with me. We'll build you a suite. You'll have space, family." "I have to," Myra interrupted softly. "Your father left it to me for a reason." No amount of convincing worked. Within hours, Alexandra found herself driving her elderly mother toward the coast, toward a place that smelled of brine and memories. When they opened the trailer's rusted door, dust exploded into the air. The space was small, decaying dishes still in the sink, as if time had stopped the moment Ethan last left. "Mom, this isn't a home," Alexandra whispered. Myra's voice broke. "It's all I have left of him." For days, the trailer echoed with the creaks of old wood and the whisper of the ocean beyond. Myra sat by the window each night, clutching Ethan's worn fishing cap, convinced there was meaning in his decision. But her children couldn't let it go. Something didn't add up. Back at the mansion, Marcus and Johnny worked in silence as movers carried boxes out. Carl Ferguson hovered nearby, pretending to supervise, but Marcus saw through the act, that smug composure, that spark of triumph. He was enjoying this. "I left something in my room," Marcus said suddenly, snapping his fingers. "I'll come with you," Ferguson offered quickly. But before Marcus could respond, Johnny stepped in, forcing a grin. "Actually, Mr. Ferguson, I wanted to ask about the company's expansion plans. Dad mentioned Europe. Were you two working on that?" "It worked." Ferguson turned his full attention toward Johnny, eager to boast about his vision. Meanwhile, Marcus slipped upstairs, not to his room, but to Ethan's study. The familiar scent of old paper and cedar filled the air. Kneeling beside the desk, Marcus reached under the rug and felt for a hidden groove. Click. The small floor safe, the one his father had shown him years ago. He entered the combination with trembling finger. The door opened with a soft metallic sigh. Inside were folders, old photographs, and a sealed envelope labeled "For My Fam." Heart pounding, Marcus grabbed everything, locked the safe again, and returned to his room just as Johnny called out that the truck had arrived. That night, the three siblings gathered around Marcus's kitchen table. Papers spread out like puzzle pieces. Myra's old lamp flickered above them. As Marcus opened the envelope, the truth spilled out: Ethan's real will, signed and dated only months before his death. Johnny slammed his fist on the table. He knew. He must have realized someone was after him. Alexandra scanned the document, her eyes widening. Carl was never meant to inherit anything. Dad left everything to Mom and us. There was more letters Ethan had written, outlining concerns about Carl Ferguson's sudden involvement in the business, and how he planned to remove him as a partner after a major audit. Marcus exhaled slowly. Carl and the lawyer, they forged everything. The next morning, they went to the police. Ethan's real lawyer, an old family friend, confirmed that Miss Rothstein's copy had been falsified. The investigation moved fast: bank records, forged signatures, and secret transfers. the truth unraveled like thread from an old seam. Meanwhile, Myra and Alexandra were transforming the trailer. New wallpaper, clean linens, flowers by the window, the little space began to feel alive again. Alexandra's children played by the shore as the wind carried laughter across the waves. For the first time in weeks, Myra smiled. That's when the phone rang. "Johnny?" Alexandra answered, frowning. "What? Are you serious?" She turned to her mother, eyes wide and shining. "Mom, you can come home. They found everything. Dad's real will. Ferguson's going to jail." Myra froze, her teacup trembling in her hand. "Oh, Ethan," she whispered, tears flooding her eyes. Months later, Carl Ferguson and the corrupt lawyer were arrested. Justice came slowly, but it came. The rightful estate was restored, the business, the mansion, everything Ethan had worked for. But when her children urged her to move back, Myra shook her head. "No," she said softly. "I belong here now." They sold the mansion and used part of the money to buy the seaside lot. There, they built Myra a small, elegant home beside the old trailer she had come to love. It wasn't grand, but it was peaceful the way Ethan would have wanted it. On warm evenings, her grandchildren ran barefoot across the sand while Myra watched from her porch, smiling at the sea. "Maybe," she said one day, "this was fate's way of bringing me home." Alexandra laughed. "Fate's weird, Mom." "Yes," Myra replied, eyes glistening in the golden sunset, "but sometimes it knows better than we do."